What a season it has been so far in the JBL Cup Series for Season 6 here in 2025. And after today here at Michigan International Speedway, we will officially be halfway through the season. 14 points races down and 14 left to go. 5 races left in the race to the chase, and things are heating up for the point lead and around the chase cutoff. It is race number 14 of the season, and it is the Auto Owners Insurance 400 at Michigan International Speedway. What's up, everyone? It is your boy NR2003, aka Nathan Stapleton, and welcome to Michigan International Speedway for the second day in a row. We had a barn burner last lap pass yesterday in the Krispy Kreme National Series, and hopefully we see something like that once again here today for the Cup Series. 50 laps on tap and 100 miles to pit stops, and it's gonna be a fun one. These guys will probably slip and slide, and it is warmer than yesterday. Yesterday was in the mid 70s, we are now in the mid 80s, so we have to see what ended up happening between the National Series and the Cup Series drivers. And for the first time this season, we've got the Michigan native and owner of Trackhouse Racing this year in the JBL Cup Series. We got Elijah Leonard up here in the booth, and welcome to Michigan.
Well, welcome back, but it's been a little bit since I've been in the booth, and it's great to be back here, Nathan.
Absolutely great to have you, and it's been a heck of a season so far in the JBL Cup Series, and just taking a look at the point standings with how tight it is up top and how tight it is around the cutoff line. But this is the halfway point of the season. After today, we are 14 races in already, and after today, we only have 4 races left in the race to the chase. So for everyone up front and everyone that is up there in the point stands, what do they need to do today, knowing that after today they only have 4 more races until they will either have a chance at the championship or not?
Well, if you're Andrew Miller, you're pretty much, it's step 1 is already complete. You're starting up on the front row. The second step for Andrew Miller is pretty much just dominate. So basically, for any driver that is up towards the front of the field, you're going to want to do the best you can to, maximize on the opportunity to gain as many points as you possibly can, because as you said, only 5 races left. So they definitely want to cement their spots in the chase for this season. But as for everybody else, they are going to have to actually pick up the consistency and hope and pray that maybe the cards can be in their favor, and when it comes to pit stops or maybe even where they qualified, so that way they can try to also do the same thing that the front runners and the point standings are doing, is maximize on as many points as they can possibly earn, and try to put themselves in a better spot once we go to the next race. So time is a ticking, so these drivers had better pick it up.
Absolutely, only 5 races to go, and after today there's only going to be 4. Road America, Nashville, which I'm very excited for. And then, of course, we got New Hampshire and Pocono for the regular season finale. So, it's definitely getting down to crunch time. And speaking of crunch time, here is the point standings and the race to the chase standings with 5 races to go in the regular season. And we have a tie for the points lead. Stuart Glenn and Andrew Miller both have 353 points respectively and are both plus 58. Local Dorn is in third, 351 and plus 56. And then Logan Williams starting to get a lot more consistent, and this is about the time when he really got consistent and broke through with a win at Kansas last season. Doesn't have a win yet, but he's really been consistent the last month. He's 4th in points, plus 51. Those 4 are looking very good with 5 races to go here in the regular season. 5th is Joanna Lewis, who was the point leader for a long time, still in a really good shape, plus 35. And then this really gets very tight. Sam Dio is in 6th, only plus 13. Kennington in 7th, plus 10. Juan Garcia in 8th, plus 9. Jordan Stout, the Daytona 500 champion, only in by plus 7. And then John Andrews, who starts second here today, is only in by 2 points. Matthew Huber, who won at Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600 2 weeks to go, has wildcard number 1 and is only 2 points below the qualifying. Trey Barlett is in 12th minus 16. And then same with Alexander Vitale and has wildcard number 2 with that Darlington win. Enable, minus 17. Duncan Wood, minus 32. Almost won at Charlotte in the JBL Cup Series, but came up a little bit short. Matthew Burnett, minus 40. Nick Lopez, minus 49. Travis Crampton, minus 49. Joe Wachowski, minus 50. And Alexander, a driver that is in the wildcard picture, but as of now is not in a wildcard spot since 20th in points, minus 54. Dylan Matthews, 21st, minus 77. Eli Bright, minus 81. Justin Seidel, minus 83. Noah Clifton, minus 96. And Zachary Fitzgerald, the 2 Aussies in the field, both 96 points out. Well, with that being said, Elijah, I'm going to pass it on to you. This is a crazy racetrack, going to be slipping and sliding here today. 50 laps, 2 pit stops, and after today, we will be halfway through the regular season. Who's the pit to win? The All Owners Insurance 400 at Michigan.
Well, I've talked about Andrew Miller a little bit ago and what he needed to do in order to, ensure his spot in the chase, which he's in a very good position to do it. He's starting up on the front row, but I'm going to go with somebody else who we've talked about for a very long time, not just in JBL Cup Series, but also in other NR2003 series. I'm looking at Nicholas Samadillo in the 77 to get this job done. And I don't think he's going to edge anybody out. I think he could probably do it on a pit stop, maybe try to get the pit strategy in his favor, and hopefully maybe come out with the race lead and possibly the win. But we'll see what happens.
Definitely a fairly solid pit right there. That car won the championship last year with Josh Williamson, and it was a slow start for Samadillo, but it's really been picking up as the spring and summer has now kicked off here, and he sits in the point standings, and he could get that first win at any given moment here in the JBL Cup Series. But if he wants to do that, he's going to have to beat Andy Miller's second pole on the season. If he wins today, this will be his 6th win in 16 total races, regular season, All-Star, and the Clash. What a season it has been so far. 14 races down after today in the regular season. 5 races to go in the race to the chase. And we have green flag racing for the All Owners Insurance 400 at Michigan International Speedway. Good stuff from Andy Miller. He got caught down the back stretch, and we're going to see this all day. These guys are going to be slipping and sliding, but that preferred lane will be on the middle lane. Not too high, but not too low as well. 4 wide for third back there. Will move from Duncan Wood and Jordan Stout. These guys have to be careful early on, but Miller leads. And depending on what ends up happening, we could see an early wet, but these guys are keeping it clean as of now. John Andrews needs a good one on the cutoff line. Only 2 points in as of now. And he is in second place. At Marco in the 3rd spot, along with the most recent winner of Matthew Hubert. And top 5, here comes the race sponsor of Ronald Kennington.
You saw Nicholas Samadillo just a little bit ago on the right-hand side of your screen. He tried to dive it into turn number 3 in order to make it 3 wide. The problem was he was on the bottom, so he lost a lot of momentum, and he's still losing some more spots here. But looks like Monaco might be able to secure this 4th position. He's going to slide up in front of Ronald Kennington here in this 19. But so far early in the going, you got the 2 Fords of Miller and also John Andrews. They've started to pull away from the field, and I'm thinking those 2 are going to be the class act to start things out here for this race. And got Samadillo back on the inside here of Aaron Abel. That would be looks like that's going to be for the 9th spot. Or sorry, for 7th. But look at this. You look back through the field, and they are 3 wide, almost spread out in all parts of the racetrack. But to Nathan's point, the middle line is going to be the preferred way to go, especially through these corners, because that's where the most grip is going to be. If you're not down there, if you're not up on that line, or if you're basically on the bottom, you're just going to lose pretty much whatever momentum that you had on the straightaways, and that's exactly what Samadillo did earlier in the going. And lead change. I've been yapping a little too much, and we got a lead change. That's John Andrews who went out front.
I put a go out there. We looked back on the deep part of the field, and Malga got to third, and Miller lost the lead as John Andrews to the point. And I'm surprised that John Andrews has not won yet, but I think both front row cars are starting to pick up the speed here in the middle part of the season. Matthew Hubert trying to get back that third spot, and you can make the inside lane work if you can set it up correctly. And Monaco, unfortunately, is going to go back to 4th, 5th, and 6th. But how about Nick Lopez? And how about JGL? They've been very solid this season. They've been a consistent team, much better than last year. But while Kennington is in 7th in the point standings, Nick Lopez is in 17th, Matthew Burnett is 16th in the standings, and Alan Abel is 14th. So all 4 cars are inside the top 17. And that's very impressive. And honestly, if things end up working out in the favor, they could have multiple cars in this year's chase. And well, here we go, going back up for the race lead. Miller and John Andrews side by side for the race lead. And one thing I will say, this race tends to go caution free most of the times. But not in season 4, there was only 1 caution, and last year for this race it went caution free. So there's a lot of chance that this could stay green, and trap position is going to be key. And Miller's trying to get that inside lane to work, but I think at this point in the season everyone knows who to not look with, and Miller's going to drop back like a walk here.
The other thing to really talk about here for a place like Michigan is that since it is 2 miles, it is also very draft dependent. More particularly on the straightaways. You saw the 5 of Matthew Hubert was down in the bottom with Andrew Miller, but then slid back up to the top line with John Andrews and also Kennington and Monaco and even Nick Lopez. You're going to see a lot of these drivers when they get single file, they do tend to draft with one another, and this place can be very draft dependent. Ooh, that was a little close there between Hubert and John Andrews. I thought Hubert was going to try to peak low there coming off of turn number 2, but that was some really good side-by-side racing between John Andrews and Andrew Miller while it lasted, but now Miller's going to lose a lot of momentum down there on the bottom side, and Hubert is pretty much lying and waiting, trying to wait and see what happens, but looks like Ronald Kennington's going to beat Hubert to the punch here as they're going to fight it out for second.
Kennington's had a very solid second season in the JBL Cup Series. Last year was a struggle for him, but he's definitely had a lot more speed. With the new owner, he's going to block Monaco, slide back up to that 3rd spot. Sam Deal in the 6th position. Lopez in 7th from the Duncan Wood. As I mentioned, he won the National Series race at Charlotte. Dominated the 600, but couldn't quite hang on to get the race win and do the sweep. And then right at the top 10 is the number 11 of Alan Abel, 3 JGL colors inside the top 10. And then a Federal Toyota of Jordan Stout, the Daytona 500 champion, who's had a very solid season in his own right. And we have to wait and see what Duncan Wood can do inside the top 7 now. Just got past Nick Lopez. Trey Barlow, Stuart Glenn, Logan Williams made some moves inside the top 15. And this is where these guys are really settling in. Because we are getting close to pit stops, about halfway through the field win already. And that could be very important here today with these pit crews. It was important at Charlotte, but especially here today with the known history of this race. There might be 1 caution, but most likely it could go caution free here today. Andrews to the lead. Hubert in 2nd, and Kennington trying to get up to 3rd, and Miller and Monaco going after it for 4th.
And we were talking a little bit ago about the micro adjustments at Joe Gibbs Racing. And, with Nicholas St. Medillo and Ronald Kennington, it's really good to see that they're performing at the stage that they're on right now. And, as you mentioned, last year was a little bit of a struggle, especially for somebody like Ronald Kennington. But to see him running up front here, in the early going, we're a 5th of the way through this race. It's really good to see him running in the 3rd spot.
Absolutely, last year, rookie season, the cars weren't as good with the old owner, but Wino's definitely done a fantastic job in the National Series and in the Cup Series, and he's trying to get a sweep as the owner. He won yesterday with Caleb Rose in RSS Racing. If one of his JGL cars wins here today, then he will do the weekend sweep, and I bet he would like that to happen, and I bet all owners would love that to happen in their sponsored race. As Kennington goes side by side with Matthew Hubert. There's not a ton of tire here, so that won't be a big factor. And we'll see if can make this job stick. He's gonna have to make it work, and he's not gonna get clear now. He's gonna lose at least one, maybe two spots here down the back stretch. Marco was same deal and Jordan Stout on the move. Stuart Grant as well, and oh my goodness, that was close in 3 and 4. Ooh, that was close for second. Miller made his way back inside the top 3. And all of that is happening as John Andrews is pulling away here at Michigan.
That is some good news there for John Andrews. He's loving that side-by-side in his rearview mirrors. He's going to check out just a little bit, a little over a half a second between himself and currently scored second place Matthew Hubert, but Miller's going to get a good advantage down the back straightaway. Not sure if he's going to be able to clear the 5 going into turn 3. He does, actually. Looks like Hubert had to get out of the gas there, and I guess was going to let Miller have the spot. So looks like Andrew Miller's going to be on the chase, back to the lead, and look at this. Number 23, Jordan Stout, looking to try to make the bottom line work, and almost did there, but unfortunately did not have a good run down the front straightaway. Is going to try it again here through 1 and 2. And he should be in a good spot to clear up in front of Duncan Ward, and he does, actually. So good run so far here for the 23 of Jordan Stout here inside of the top 10.
Absolutely a consistent season for Stout, running 9th in the point standings, and he needs a good one. He, of course, won the 500. He has that to rely on for the wild card, but I feel like that team has the capability of making it on points this season, and he might just do that. Marco, I say this all the time, but he's had a lot of speed this year in both Cup and National, but he's had a lot of bad luck. He's finally turning around and could be a late regular season contender in the National Series chase, but it's probably too little too late for him here in the Cup Series, and he's having another good one inside the top 5. Miller tried getting to the inside of that Raising Cane's Ford. Couldn't quite get there. They are shuffling all over the place. Marco Connington, Sam Deal Ward, and Jordan Stout and Abel inside the top 10. Same with Nick Lopez, Stuart Grant, Trey Barlow, and Logan Williams. And this is a stat that the owner of Lexington Motor Club has been keeping an eye on, and it's the spots gained and lost throughout the entire season, from starting positions to finishing positions. And as of Charlotte, the car that had the most spots gained from the start of the races, that's close right there, was Logan Williams, plus 89. So that's been really, he's been making all of those positions up, is on the racetrack, and he's making a good one inside the top 15 before pit stops. And speaking of pit stops, they should be just a couple laps away from round 1.
Yeah, pit stops are going to be a very interesting cycle of events here as we are nearing a little bit closer to that round of green flag pit stops. And I think that's definitely going to show just exactly where the teams stack up when it comes down to strategy and who's going to be able to come out on top. And speaking of on top, Andrew Miller just barely going to edge out John Andrews at the line to lead that lap and take back the race lead. But for how much longer here? Because Andrews might get himself a really good run on that outside, more than likely. I think that's definitely going to be guaranteed now that Matthew Hubert's joined him up there. So move Miller back possibly to the 3rd position here if he's not able to get around Matthew Hubert, that is.
For a second, I thought Hubert was going to split the middle 3 wide, and
here it is.
Go. Pit stops, and Andrews, Miller, Monaco, Abel, Nick Lopez all going down pit road. The top 5 right there, and I will quickly mention, I don't know what happened to Crampton, but looking at the scoring board, he is 1 lap down now, so you will see what happened to him on the screen, as it looked like it was a tire issue. So tough play for Charles Crampton. That's been that season for him. A lot of speed, but a lot of bad luck. And now the first round of pit stops, I would imagine it will be 4 tires on this one. The second stop could be a little bit iffy. Andrews is in, Monaco, and it's going to be 4 tires. Yes, 4 tires for these guys. And looks like there might have been some cars that pitted the first time around, maybe even a lap sooner. Matthew Hubert, 1977, 23, 8, 47, 38, 24, 41, 10, 9, 3, 48, 15, 7, and 20. A busy pit road here for the first pit stops of the day. And it looks like we just had a couple of drivers pit a lap sooner. And let's see, Matthew Hubert did lead them to the box for the second group. It looks like it's going to be a solid pit stop for everyone in this bunch. And a really good start for the 19, as it's going to go side by side with the number 5 right there. And a slow start for Sam Badillo. He's going to lose a handful of positions. And I believe the 7 of the 2, my bad, is on pit road now. And it looks like the 14 has stayed on an extra lap. And I don't know how much the tire wear is really going to be a factor, as there's a 14 of Brian Varga. Not had a good season, but trying something out here and going long. Same with the 4, the 7, the 7, the 22, the 43, and the 1 as well, one of the low drivers. But very interesting cycle right here, as I believe it will be this gaggle of colors right here, of 5 colors, and Unable is going to be in the mix as well once it all cycles out.
Yeah, with Braden Varga coming down pit road, that should complete the first round of green flag stops. So looks like the battle for the top spot is going to come down to these 5, but these guys are pretty much racing like it's the last lap up here. But then you look further back, everybody else is kind of single file. You know, everybody's a little bit strung out. They're just on their own little rhythm, just trying to get some heat into the tires, because the thing is, even though the sun is out and beaming down on the racetrack, there's not a lot of grip that is put into these fresh tires. So obviously you want to cycle a little bit of heat into them, you know, with maybe a couple laps. You know, obviously the grip should kick in, but that's usually what happens here on, I mean, fresher tires, that is. But with everybody else, I mean, they're more just trying to get themselves back into a green flag rhythm. But if you're up front, you're pretty much racing hard for the lead.
Absolutely, and it will cycle out this time by officially. We gotta watch out for that if this stays green on the second cycle. But it is officially Walnut Cunnington. The auto owner's insurance card is Liam. The auto owner's insurance 400. John Adams, dominant car of the day, and second, and Abel jumped up a lot. He's up to third now. Definitely needs that for him. 14th from the point standings. Matthew Hubert in 4th. Air Monaco in 5th. Stuart Grant is in 6th. And 7th is now the 38 of Logan Williams. Jordan Stout in the 8th position. Duncan Wood in 9th. And how about Alexander Rowe inside the top 10? He has that win from Talladega. 20th in points. He needs a good one, and he's inside the top 10. Nick Lopez and Anna Miller has fallen outside the top 12. But it's outside the top 10 in 12th. And then local Dawn, Troy Barlow, and Eli Bright rounds out the top 15. And oh my goodness, that is very tight between Miller, Nick Lopez, and Alexander Moore. That's almost out halfway caution here in the Honors 400.
That could have been very catastrophic for those two right there. And it could have been even worse for anybody else that could have potentially been collected. But thankfully, Lopez kept it off of Alexander Rowe, and we stay green. And up front, they're pretty much fighting it out there for second, as John Andrews, again, same song, different dance, starting to pull away and just kind of check out from everybody, at least for the moment.
That's the second time in a row that we've gone through the back part of the top 10, and we missed a pass for the leads, and both times it was John Andrews. So gonna be sorry about that. And you know what? This is a great battle for second between Abel, Cunnington, and Monaco. And honestly, Abel. Oh boy, rewind here for second here. Look at Monaco. He might be able to challenge, but
yeah, Kennington got the better run on the outside, so it's going to turn into a fight for third here. And looks like Monaco's going to have to slip back. Doesn't have a whole lot of grip. Oh, look at this!
That's
right back at it again.
Michigan is a fine line of where you want one. You want one in the middle. If you go too high, that's going to happen. If you want too low, that's going to happen. And move Abel back up to the second place spot here, past halfway, and we'll see what ends up happening. Top 5 all under a blanket. And I'm impressed with Jordan Stout here. He needs a good one. Only +7 entering today, and he is having it here in this one. But what a race this has been here so far. And you know what?
Ooh, here we go.
April, with help from his teammate of Kennington, battle for the race lead.
And that I think that was also just because Andrews did not have a good corner exit coming off of turn number 2. And that's going to allow Aaron Abel and Ronald Kennington to slide right on by to take the first and second positions. But don't count him out just yet. John Andrews, I feel like, is going to have something up his sleeve here once we get down to it. He's got himself a really good run here down the front straightaway. He might try to take the outside going into turn number 1 to take back the second position. But he's not going to be able to make it stick. But here comes Eric Monaco down to the inside to try to contest for third.
And you know what? The more these cars battle, the 23, 47, 38, 8, 41, they're going to close back in. And we're going to have more and more cars here in the second half of this race. But I'm liking these Joker's racing cars. They got 3 cars inside the top 11. And all 4 are inside the top 20. But here we go. Kennington and Abel. They work together. They have a big gap. And now side by side between the two teammates of JGR, of Abel and Kennington.
They've got about a half a second advantage as of right now of the rest of the leaders. But they're still they're not giving an inch to one another. It looks like Kennington had to lift going through 3 and 4, and that's going to allow the advantage to go back into the hands of Aaron Abel here. But all that fighting on that single lap, and that's brought Eric Monaco into the mix as he's going to go to the outside, possibly for second. Oh, he went a little too high there, so he's going to lose a little bit of ground, but not too much here at the same time. But I think it's also going to bring in Matthew Hubert and also the 34 of John Andrews back into the mix. But still got a pretty good gap between as of right now, first, second, and third. And then you got the side-by-side battle for fourth.
And the more these top 5 battle, the more drivers that will get involved. Like Jordan Stout, like Stuart Grant, Duncan Wood, and Logan Williams especially. They are closing in at a rapid pace, and you gotta wait and see what ends up happening. And now, John Andrews and Matthew, but they are still going side-by-side. And look at these top 3 breaking away, working together. And now Kennington is going to go side by side for the race lead. And you know what? I don't want to jinx him because I jinxed him a lot last season, but I'm going to. This could be his best chance he's ever had at getting his first career win in the JBL Cup Series here today in his second season. Kennington and Abel side by side, and Monaco trying to possibly steal the lead from these two JBL Toyotas.
I thought he was going to thread the needle for a second from that shot, but look at Monaco on that outside line. He's going to slide up and take over the second position. Kennington's going to have to tuck in here in third, but it's not over here just yet. Coming to 17 to go, and Monaco's trying to get 2 birds with 1 stone. But Kennington, I think, is going to have himself a really good run here and might try to take it to the outside once they come back through first 1 and 2. Actually, I think he's going for it. He's going to try the inside going through 1 and 2.
Some really good action here at Michigan International Speedway here today, and Kennington is going to slide back up barely on Monaco and take that second spot away. And these guys have to still think about pit stops. This race is a very fast race. You got very high speeds, and honestly, we could be about 7 laps away from the second and final round of pit stops, and that could be fairly interesting if these guys take 2 tires or 4 tires. But how about this one with JGR? They've been a strong team. But if April wins here today, I don't think he will be in the top 10 in points with John Andrews, Matthew Hubert, Trey Barlow, Jordan Stout all running up front. But he's definitely going to add himself into the wild card contention here with 4 races to go after today. But it's going to come down to these pit crew. To these pit crews for the second time today. Monaco goes wide. That's going to allow Andrews to get to the inside, and we are side by side for the lead and third with 15 laps to go in the Auto Owners 400.
Advantage the Auto Owners Insurance car of Ronald Kennington across the stripe with 15 laps to go. But again, I mean, there's still that one more set of pit stops that these drivers have got to go through, and that pretty much is going to be the money stop, and that's going to determine who's going to win this race. But don't look now. Here comes the 47 of Stuart Gratton. Where in the world did he come from? Already contesting to the inside of the 23 of Jordan Stout here for the sixth position. He might be a potential dark horse for this win.
You know what? We were talking about Jordan Stout so much, but you also can't count Stuart Gratton. He probably should have 3 wins already with Andrew Miller, but Miller kind of stole one at Rockingham, so he wants to throw one here today. But it's gonna be interesting. The top 8, I think, and honestly, going back to the 41, the top 11 have a really good shot, depending on pit stops, to steal this one here today.
It's all going to come down to these pit stops, but I mean, these guys in the meantime, they're going to be racing like it's pretty much like everything's at stake, like the rent is due. Speaking of, Monaco down to the inside of Aaron Abel for the second position as Kennington's starting to check out just a little bit. I think as we get into a longer run, there's always that 50-50 chance that bottom line could be the preferred way to go, but look at Andrews trying to thread the needle.
And he's gonna make it work. What a move.
That was definitely something. Oh, maybe. Oh, here we go. I think these are the last round. Actually,
okay. Monaco just got bad into turn 3 there. That is really bad for Monaco. And he's gonna lose 1, 2, 3, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7 spots from that.
Yeah, I honestly was taken aback because I thought we were getting ready to see the final round of green flag pit stops, but Monaco definitely tricked us there. Just got in too deep over in turns 3 and 4, and again, that bottom line proving that it's usually not the best way to go about this racetrack, and he definitely lost a lot of ground from that.
Now we might be having pit stops.
Yep, here they are. This is it.
He almost got into the 23, and here is the important stops of the day. Do these drivers and teams go with 2 tires or 4 tires?
Honestly, I think if you really want that track position, the best bet would take 2 tires. Unless if you want to do it the normal way, I mean, yes, 4, but logically, if you want this win, definitely take 2.
And that's the call. Great stop from Aaron Abel. 2 tires from that number 11 machine. And I think that's going to be the call. There's not a lot of tire, and that's going to be a 2-tire stop. And a very good stuff from all those drivers right there. And then Ronald Cunnington's going to lead the second batch of drivers onto pit road. Duncan Wood, Jordan Stout, and Stuart Gratton all in the midst. And this is going to be very interesting on what ends up happening. Can the 19 get another good stop, just like the number 11 did? Going to be 2 stops, 2 tires for everybody. Someone could surprise me and take 3 only, but I highly doubt it. Another good stop from the 19, a good stop from the 47. Bad stop for the 23 of Jordan Stout. He's going to lose several positions. And now Gratton might be in the midst of this one.
More than likely, but you also don't want to count out anybody in that first group because they could still have a say in who wins this race here if once everybody cycles back around. Another driver that we might have to pay attention to is Eli Bright. He was amongst the first drivers that came into the pits and came out with, you know, drivers like Andrew Miller and Eric Monaco, and also the 11 of Aaron Abel.
No.
Oh, speaking of Monaco.
Well, you guys will see that on the corner of the screen. That sums up Monaco's Cup season, at least. Another day where he has top 5 speed, and another day where he has bad luck.
That's just such a shame. He was having himself a really good race too, but going back to it, Bright's another driver you might have to keep an eye on. It just depends on where he cycles, you know, once green flag pit stops complete. But he might not be too far out from this one. He could get himself a top 10, depending, again, it all just depends on where he stacks up once this cycle completes.
And it looks like it's going to be a flip-flop here with the front row cars. as I believe that Locomotive's going to have another shot at the race winning here today, out of nowhere. But for John Andrews, he's not even inside the top 10. If he is, he's in 10th. So a bad pit stop cycle from the number 34 right there, and he's going to not get a win here today, most likely. But back up to the front, it should cycle out to this right here. The 14 is on pit roll now, and a slow start from the 14. Trying to do the overcut, and it's going to be unable officially as the race lead. And look at this, a huge lead for these top two Joe Gibbs Toyotas. A 3-second lead here with less than 10 laps to go for Kennington and Abel.
And I think pretty much it's just going to come down to these two for the win. Everybody else from the 38 of Logan Williams on back, they are pretty much going to be fighting it out for best bet third and, you know, whatever spots that they can get here, because pretty much all these cars are separated into different groups that are kind of strung out, but looks like your best bet here is going to be these two drivers. They're going to be fighting it out for third, while the two teammates of Kennington and Abel fight it out here for the win.
You know, there's been some not really bad feelings within the team, but they've been a little bit discouraged in the discourse of can we actually win a points penny race? They won the Clash in controversial fashion. They've had a lot of speed this year at certain times, but they've not been able to finish these races in the end. And we only have 5 laps to go, and unless something catastrophic happens, they're going to get a 1-2 finish here today. And that's going to be some noise, because both of these drivers have been the best drivers for the team this season. Kennington 7th in points, April 14th in points, and honestly, if I was Stoner, I would say, hey, let's have Abel win, because he is outside and needs the wild card, but what are you going to do? You can't stop the race sponsor car. Kennington to the race lead with 4 laps to go and 8 miles left in the Auto Owners Insurance 400.
And I'd say if you are Aaron Abel and you're desperately needing that win, you've got to start going now here. You may have given up the race lead to Ronald Kennington, but you've got coming up to 3.5 laps to go. And at this point, at this juncture of the race, you're basically just racing hard for a win. It does not matter if your teammates. That aspect gets thrown out the window. You're both fighting hard for this race win. But as we just saw a little bit ago, we got the 71. That is Zachary Fitzwater.
He might have a cylinder down.
Might have a cylinder down, but also not going to be much of a deciding factor for the race win. These drivers, Abel and Kennington, they both get by him perfectly fine. But now at this point, they should have clear racetrack to fight it out and settle it between these two.
A tough way for Fitzwater. It's been an up and down season for him. And unfortunately, I'm not too surprised with high speeds going 205 plus miles an hour.
Here he goes.
Today, Abel and Kennington side by side, and I would imagine these two will race clean but hard at the same time. Regardless, this is going to be a much needed points day for Aaron Abel here today. With 17 points below the cutoff line, and he will definitely gain a little bit on guys like Jordan Stout and John Williams, but 1.5 laps to go, and there's no between these top two.
Oh, once we get down to the white flag, I have a pretty good feeling here that Aaron Abel's going to absolutely try to send it going into turn 1 here, but we're about to find out. Ooh, maybe try to do it here through 3 and 4. Kennington slipped up a little bit, but they're going to be side by side coming off of turn 4, heading to the white flag.
We saw a last lap pass yesterday. Will we see 2 in 2 days? Is the power of 1 to go? Abel and Kennington. JGR 1-2 here today in the Auto Owners 400. Side by side, Abel's going to take the race lead from his teammate of Ronald Kennington. A clean pass. And it's not going to be over yet. Kennington's going to have a shot maybe in 3 and 4. Can the Auto-Owners car win? Well, we're unable to, basically the veteran of the team, get the race win. Kennington running a lane lower. Abel running a lane higher. And for the second day in a row, technically, we are going to have a back-to-back last lap pass on Abel. A caution-free thriller will win the Auto-Owners 400 at Michigan.
That was honestly a textbook pass from Aaron Abel. Sent it in through turns 3 and 4. Kennington slipped up a little bit. That opened the door wide open for Aaron Abel to drive to the inside. And it took a little bit, but going through 1 and 2, Aaron Abel was able to clear the 19 of Ronald Kennington and sail away with this race win. How about that? Big congrats to Aaron Abel.
The veteran on the team gets him a win finally. He won the Open a couple of weeks ago to get into the All-Star race in dominating fashion. This one he had to earn it, and that is big. Abel with the win, and honestly, I've been saying it with a lot of people this year, but Abel is one of those drivers that didn't have a win, that could have a win early on in the year, and coming to him with a little bit of a congratulations bump right there from a fellow teammate. But what a race, the back-to-back days where we saw a last lap pass in both Cup and National, and both of them went caution-free, and both of them had fantastic racing here, and this is why we love Michigan International Speedway. And what a race, second year in a row that this went caution-free, but what a battle between teammates, and you know what? A great day overall, 1-2 for them, and for Wino, and also a 10th place one from Nick Lopez. So 3 JBL colors inside the top 10. What a job well done from Joe Gibbs Racing here today. And I bet they're going to be happy about that one. And a job well done. That's going to help Kennington in the points. That's going to help Aaron Abel in the points. And now he has a buffer for a wild card. I think that's going to help out with, unless something crazy happens, there could be at least those two I think should make it into the chase. Because they've been the best two for that team. Logan Williams once again does it again. He started deep in the field, I believe, here today in the 24th position, and he gets third, so he gained 21 spots once again. Great job from Logan Williams, second one and 4th, Stuart Grant in 5th, Local Dorn in 6th, Matthew Hooper in 7th, Anna Miller. It looked like he was going to get another win here today, but the pit crew didn't really help him too much, and he still gets the top 10. But in 8th, John Andrews, he could have won today. I think he had the best car, but the pit crew late hurt him a little bit, and he gets 9th, and then Nick Lopez in 10th. Whoa, Stout, Buttle, Blight, Weem, Garcia, Burnett, Seidel, D'Alcamo, and Sam Vitale round out the top 10, the top 20. And that's not good for Sam Vitale because he had the second wild card, but he finished lower than Alexander. So Bull will gain a little bit. Sam Vitale will lose a little bit for the wild card fight. Not a good day for Jordan Edwards. We didn't really see the 9 team all day long. Sam Dio dropped back late. And Wachowski, another bad one for that Legacy Motor Club team. Same with Eli Bright, with a decent one in 14th. And then all these guys back on the field. Crampton had a tire go down. Fitzy had I would assume definitely a engine issue of some point. And then Marco unfortunately had a massive engine issue during the second round of pit stops. And we saw it last year, Elijah. Some teams have a lot of speed, but some teams have terrible luck. And that's been the case for Eric Marco this year. And tough wait once again. He got a top 5 car, maybe even a race winning car, but it's not going to show for it. But you know who did? Joe Gibbs Racing. 3 cars inside the top 10. Abel with the win, and Kennington a close second. What a race here at Michigan.
I would definitely have to say this is honestly a really, really solid race here at the Michigan International Speedway. Again, huge congrats to both Joe Gibbs Racing cars finishing 1-2, and then you follow it up with Nick Lopez finishing in 10th, and also Matthew Burnett finishing in the 17th position. You know, all in all, I'd say it was definitely a really good day for that team, and also some other drivers that we really didn't talk about a whole lot in this race. You know, take, for example, Rogel Dorn, even Stuart Gratton. You know, Logan Williams, we didn't really mention too much until the very, very end of the race. You know, and they sneak in and finish inside of the top 10. And then you got guys like Nicholas Samadio, who started off in the race, you know, running up pretty well inside of the top 10. But unfortunately, a bad pit stop on the first round of, you know, green flag pit stops just had to set him back quite a ways, and unfortunately was not able to recover. And then the big elephant in the room when it comes to drivers that I feel like could have and should have had a shot at winning this race. Eric Monaco, unfortunately, finishing the race in the garage area with an expired motor. That just was very unfortunate to see, and it was very bittersweet to watch Eric Monaco just trail down pit road with the smoke billowing out of his car, and that's just very unfortunate. But still got a lot of opportunities left here for the number 16 of Monaco to nab a win here this season. But nonetheless, is an all-out, really good, clean battle to the very end between teammates. I gotta say, big congratulations to Aaron Abel one more time on nabbing the win here in Michigan.
Absolutely great job from that number 11 machine. Great job from Joe Gibbs Racing as a whole. All three of them finished, 3 of them inside the top 10 and all 4 inside the top half of the field in the top 18. And for Aaron Abel, if I am correct on this, and I think I am, that is his 7th win on the channel and his 4th win as a Cup Series driver. And he's definitely a veteran on that team, and that is a very valid statement because this is his 3rd season. So he's the veteran on the team, and he led them to a 1-2 finish and a 1-2-10 and 17th place finish. And I think we might have to watch out for Aaron Abel. He was the sleeper for a lot of wins last year, late in the going. I think that's going to be the same for him this year. And honestly, if Monaco keeps up this pace, he could be a sleeper in the last 14 races as well. But what a race weekend here at Michigan. 2 bottom races with fantastic racing and a last lap pass in both of them. And we'll see what ends up happening at Road America next week for the 2nd road course race on the season for the JBL Cup Series. That's going to be wild. Then Nashville, New Hampshire, and Pocono. 4 races left until we find out who are officially in to the Season 6 chase. Thanks for Elijah for joining me up here in the booth for I believe 4 more times throughout the rest of the season here in the JBL Cup Series. And until World America next week, we will see you guys for some more course action in Wisconsin.